No.
Off! Just fuck right off!
So we screwed up our producer's 10 seconds of silence to get the background
That
noise.
doesn't happen all that.
Shall we start our 10 seconds of silence now?
Ready and theme.
No?
That would require editing later, which I'm too lazy to want to do unnecessarily. Good evening. It is Friday, June 10th, 2022. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your nearly daily source for news and politics. I'm RisenLadyHeathen. Hey, asshole. What separates our show from other Millennial news podcasts?
A rigidly enforced rule set for the behavior of yardbirds.
That is
Descriptions.
Yeah, which we don't follow.
It was enforced. I saw it. Easter
We'll
chicken got carried off for being rude to Stormy.
We'll talk about it in a minute.
Oh, I misunderstood. I
we'll
thought you
talk
were
about it
talking
in a
about the
minute.
rigid
Shut up.
rule set for beginning the broadcast.
He just doesn't... Just shut up.
Oh,
We have a boomer, and not just any boomer. We have Mr. Boomer Rex himself.
Yeah,
literally
what
why
she
we
needs
chose
is
him.
2 mics so she can kill my mic.
Yeah, no, that would
That's-
make me so... People,
Now
go to Boomer Rex Tonight, no spaces. Give us $1 so I can buy him a fucking microphone and shut it off when he's being a dick.
It's not often the internet gives you this literal a chance to give a woman a voice.
That's true.
Seriously. You two eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and I'm learning that's 3 unique perspectives we share along with the facts from our literal round table. We got some more discussions about the June 6 hearings and reactions today and how everybody's taking it. And I do first want to call out our first not friend commenter. Now, some of you might remember when a little while ago on our Facebook, I had pushed one of the memes I had made, and we got a lot of varied comments on that. It was a lot of fun, and I had a good time replying to people.
Yeah.
Yep,
We
I
only
enjoyed
had-
that. The internet.
yeah.
That was weird.
We only had one person who was an issue, and I had to delete his comments. But,
Okay.
but this guy, his name is Tim Brown, and he says, it's never the good guys conducting show trials, and show trials are never about the truth. Now, he got this talking point
Bit
from...
axiomatic, but good.
He got this talking point from Fox News, which is good, because potentially this gentleman has now listened to at least one of our shows, and listened. I'm hoping, Tim, that you listened from start to finish. So I appreciate that you took the time to possibly hear another perspective,
Right.
and I respect that, and I greatly appreciate that. So I commented back to him, and I said, thank you for your comment. To the best of our understanding here at BoomerRexTonight, this hearing is about the possibility of recommending charges to DOJ and seeing how we can avoid being in this situation in the future.
Right. And so I invite him, if he thinks he has any evidence whatsoever that what was said last night by the January 6th committee is wrong, he's welcome to present it.
Well, and I'm going to be honest with you, if he is, because this was a Fox News talking point, which I found out
of course it
just
was.
before the show. So what I'm going to say is that he probably didn't see the hearing, or at least not in its entirety, if he's a Fox News viewer.
Right.
So that means that he doesn't know what the rest of us know, because he didn't actually get the proper information.
Yeah, it helps to
And-
have information.
Exactly. So I feel kind of whatever, but I'm happy that he came to us, and I
Absolutely.
really hope, if you're listening again, please, if you have questions, please comment again. I was so happy when I thought about it, because at first I was a little bit like, I don't feel like this is a show trial at all. It's not even a trial, right? Like, this is a little crazy. And I did some research into the definition of a show trial. And a show trial is actually a judicial trial, which this is not, first of all. And it's a trial in which the decision of guilt has been made before the trial, and the trial is literally just a show, which is why they call it a show trial, right? This is not that, okay? This is, this committee has spent how many months collecting evidence and going through it and making decisions. Now they are presenting that decision or the conclusions that they've come up to with
And the
all the
evidence.
information that they have collected, and they will be sharing the evidence to prove their thought process on why they came to this conclusion.
Yep.
So again, this is not a show trial in any sense of the word. So again,
No,
that's
if they're doing
rhetoric.
it right, it's a dry run for the federal trial.
Right.
Yep.
But I just wanted to cover that, and again, thank you, Tim, and I appreciate you listening, and I hope you continue to listen, and I hope you continue to reach out and comment, and feel free to ask questions. We can help you out with this. All right, so thanks again, buddy.
Yeah. Catch the full hearings. Come back. We want to talk more.
I mean,
It's a good line either way.
yeah, it's good things. So let's dig right into our headlines. Demon Ducks of Doom.
I ran across this. I absolutely could not ignore it.
I'm glad you didn't. That's fun.
So, Genionis. This was an intimidating creature, right? Stood about 6.5 feet tall, right? Tipped the scales at about 530 pounds. What it is a giant duck. And this creature lived a long time ago.
Yeah. This has got to be megafauna.
Anyway, so this is 530 pounds of beak, bones, and feather-clad muscle. So, fittingly, these megaducks also laid gigantic eggs, each of which weighed about 3.5 pounds, or about the size of a melon. So, Genionis huge eggs were an ideal source of protein for indigenous Australian people who appear to have contributed to the extinction of the birds by not eating the birds, but eating their eggs. So, anyway, I thought that was kind of cool.
It's sad that they were driven to extinction,
In
but
Jurassic Park, some of these ducks and go back to eating the eggs.
well, but it also shows you that a lot of these creatures that we think of as long gone before humans came around really fucking weren't.
Yeah.
There were still some real weird creatures hanging around.
Yep, and we ate them.
I think Australia had a giant, like a real big dinosaur type lizard.
Yeah, I can believe that.
in the early human stages.
Nothing else. They got gators and the rest.
I'll have to look it up for sure, but it was particularly interesting. But again, they ran into extinction.
They have salties.
Yeah.
They grow up to be 25 feet.
Yeah.
All right. Wicker, Amazon's encrypted chat has a child sex abuse problem.
Apparently,
Why would you
it's
offer
more and more and more common,
Yeah, no
right,
shit.
for folks to use Wicker as a place to exchange and advertise and so forth, child pornography. Now, it's not the only tech platform that needs to crack down, but it's interesting that during a period when Facebook had 22 million takedowns, Twitter had 1,000,007, Wicker had 15.
That seems like a difference in scale.
Yeah.
A little bit. At the same time, they had 3,500 reports, right, that came in from third parties, right? So again, it's pretty clear they're not doing the job. So Wicker, get on the ball and get to working.
It's Amazon. They don't give a fuck. Why do they give a fuck? If they could sell children, I'm sure they would deliver them right to your door. I'm just saying. That's some good money, I'm sure.
Amazon, I want to get on the prototyping of those drones because the drone that can steal a kid, a bigger one could snatch an adult.
Oh,
No,
want
they're
to
just
talk
some people I
about
want to
slavery on a
take him to
fucking...
20,000 feet and let him
I
go.
just want to talk about some stuff. It's fine.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right.
come on, Wicker, get with the program.
Fair. Bernie to Dems, change course before you nosedive.
Yeah.
Go Bernie.
So anyway, Bernie points out that without a course correction, he sees the Democratic Party on track to get shellacked this fall. And he's never one to mince words, right? You really can't win an election with a bumper sticker that says, well, we can't do much, but the other side is worse. Right?
Yeah,
Which really does appear to be our current election.
Current shit, but
Right. So, and a bunch of Democrats are hoping that bad Republican candidates, some kind of Biden rebound, or a last-minute flurry of modest legislation can say, yeah, right. Sanders is done with such happy thoughts. He says, say to the American people, look, we don't have the votes to do this right now,
yeah.
right? We only have 48 Democrats in the Senate. We have two.
By and large, the arguments we have that sound like this is why we started recording these.
Yeah. No, we have two supposedly Democratic senators who are wholly owned and operated by moneyed interests. Right? They are not Democrats. They should never have been on our ticket.
Live and learn.
So the key to what the leadership has got to do is go out and say, look, we don't have the votes to pass anything significant, right? We got 48 votes and we need more to pass it. And these are the things that we would pass if we had more than 48 votes. You know, like a living minimum wage and effective national health care. Yeah, you know, some of those things, affordable housing.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff the Democrats, actual Democrats, could propose. He says what we need is, you know, a new contract with America, which has an unfortunate history, but it's not a dumb idea.
Not a bad way to clean it
It's
up.
right. You give me the votes. This is what we'll do to fix it. Right. So go get them, Bernie.
Yeah.
Hey, all you corporate Democrats, fuck you. Choose a team.
Yeah.
Because you were not too far from the pitchforks and torches.
No. And that's not our team doing a lot of messaging down those avenues.
Yeah. No, they all want to continue to be invited to the rich folks' parties. Sorry, we do not need Wall Street Barbie.
Nope.
So, anyway, get a grip, Democrats. You want to lose, keep playing the game the way you're playing it, because you're going to get stomped.
Yeah.
You ain't going to believe what happens to you in November.
Really starting to feel like a broken record. We've been saying this for months now.
Yeah. Well,
Start listening, you fucking shitheads.
right, and we're going to continue to say it, because they might someday.
You know what? I got a better idea. Instead of continuing to say it fresh, let's cut out the middleman. We'll make a recording of it and just be like, all right, Democrats, listen to this. Again, play.
We can do that.
Fuck.
You're the one
you.
who's going to have to. You're the one who's going to have to edit it in. It doesn't bother me a bit to do that.
Yeah.
No, we'll get one of those apps that you can hit a button.
You just
and
hit a
it'll play
button and it
sound.
plays it. I love that.
That'd be way better.
It can be one of our sound effects.
We can get like a soundboard and do like a soundboard like fucking one of those crazy
Morning shows.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Blah, blah.
Jim Cramer have one of
Yep.
those?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, and
Or
his
like
are
that guy that
sometimes
used to
amusing.
do taxes or whatever, you know what I'm talking
You're
about?
talking
Yeah.
about the same guy.
Yeah,
Not taxes, fucking stocks.
You're talking
yeah,
about the same. Yeah.
Jim Cramer.
Yes. Uvalde school district police chief said he intentionally turned off his radio? Left his radio behind. I missed a word for some reason
Yeah.
because I'm smart.
Okay, so we'd already figured out that this asshole couldn't move or shoot. And now it turns out that he intentionally rendered himself unable to communicate.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, this is
Fired.
beyond the pale. This
Oh
is
wait,
a
this
cow-
is the guy that got elected to another position,
yeah,
right?
this is a coward who needs to be fired.
Well, he
and,
done such a good job as a police.
fired and run out of the county. This is a coward.
This is ridiculous.
There were 3 teachers and 33 children who waited for an hour.
Over an hour.
Yeah.
It was almost
So,
90
anyway.
minutes, wasn't it?
He's got a new thing though. He's saying he wasn't the incident commander. And just they can't keep their fucking stories straight. This was an absolute goddamn disaster. Everything we know says that the cops who were at the door should have beaten the door down and entered.
Yep.
Fuck those cowards. And if you're a cop and you don't like this, this is the responsibility that comes with a badge. And if you don't accept it, drop your badge on the goddamn desk on the way out.
Yep. No, if we can't field enough cops, that's a thing we need to know.
I know. Yeah.
Same reason I'm hammering tongs on we should know which police departments are cut out of the FBI servers. Because, sorry, if someone competent made that decision, you should know
and
that
they
when you
made
see
those
the lights come on.
decisions because those police departments had been taken over by the ultra-right.
Yep.
So,
All right. Trans teen kicked out of summer camp.
So a 14-year-old transgendered girl was kicked out of a faith-based summer camp that she volunteered at.
Oh my God.
And she was kicked out because of her life choice.
Lifestyle choices?
Life choice,
Huh,
yes.
Life choice. Fine.
But the camp is now saying they're not transphobic homophobic. They were just worried about her safety. Yeah, right.
That's worse.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, no, this is ridiculous.
That doesn't make it better, guys.
So anyway, Elizabeth Clark went to the first 2 days of the week-long session of Connect camps in Cordell, Georgia, when her family got texts telling her not to come back. As our team was advised that Elizabeth had made a life choice that unfortunately is causing some distractions at camp, and we have agreed it would be best if Elizabeth did not return, allowing us the opportunity to meet our promise of a remarkable for the campers. Yeah, experience for the campers. I don't know. Anyway, the reason I chose this was I liked her response. She said, I was surprised that people who were just preaching about love and accepting everybody to come out and tell me that it was best if I did not return. And she said she was particularly hurt that the text used the word choice, since she doesn't experience her gender as a choice, but instead as a fact. She says, if it were a choice, I wouldn't choose to be part of the LGBT community or the trans, because I don't want to put myself through the struggles that other people have to go through.
Yeah. Who would choose it? And it's a discussion that I've had with my uncle who is gay, and it took him many years to be able to come out to his nieces and nephews about the reality of that situation. And I remember being, well, why didn't you just tell me? Like, now I feel like an ass for years and years of asking when you were getting married and why we could never meet your girlfriends, right? Because you couldn't just come out and tell me you were gay. And it was because, you know, that's the way he was raised. It's not fucking okay. And,
well, and you can't spill secrets you don't know.
Yeah.
But, no, and he knew this was something he'd known for a long time. So it wasn't, it wasn't like that. But,
no, I'm saying children can't tell anyone anything
if you don't tell them.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair. But the situation is that, you know, it's different, right? For people.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, I didn't choose to be gay. I just am.
Right.
And that was a huge discussion that he tried to explain to everybody. And I was like, you don't need to explain it to me. I get it. But there's a lot of confusion around the idea that LGBTQ is a choice.
Yep.
I don't choose to be attracted to women. I just am. You know what I mean?
Have I told you about the family meeting?
probably.
I'll tell it again. There was a gay couple that ran a bakery, and I overheard them once telling a story. And so they had a daughter, and she was, 14 years old. And so she came home one night, and
Yep, I know
she
you're going with
said,
this.
we have to have a family meeting. And so they're both absolutely, utterly terrified. And they look at each other and they're going, oh, fuck, she's pregnant. What the hell are we going to do?
God, how many of children's problems are life-shaking?
Yeah. So anyway, they have this family meeting, and the girl sits down and clearly, just torn. And she sits down with them. And she said, I have to tell you. She said, I think I might be straight. They were saying they couldn't stop laughing, right? And so their 14-year-old girl is sitting there absolutely aghast at her parents laughing at this thing that she thought was just the end of the world. And finally, one of them got her breath back and threw her arms around this girl, and she goes, don't you know, every parent hopes their children are straight because it's an easier road to hoe. Mm-hmm. And anyway, I thought that was an interesting insight into
Well, no, and a majority, a majority of gay couples that adopt have straight children, and that's fine. They don't become gay just because their parents are gay,
isn't it?
So again, like this whole it's
Learning how stuff
or,
works made this pseudoscience bigotry a lot harder.
Yeah.
Good.
Whatever chemicals in your brain make you attracted to different things do not change because somebody tells you something.
Right.
So just keep that in mind, folks. This is just stupid.
Yep.
And it's funny, this trans teen getting kicked out of a summer camp, when we were talking several months ago about that, there was like a whole camp in California where they had like 3 trans counselors who, you know, the parents were never told that they were trans, and you know, that was the big whatever, but they worked there and it wasn't a problem.
Yep.
And you know, whatever. I mean, so this is just the like one end of the maybe to the way other end of the no, definitely not no. So just interesting. BoomerRex's About Damn Time. Tell me the good news.
All right. So, and it's just piling on, but I'm sorry. Alex Jones lost in court again.
Nah.
He's persistently tried to paint himself as a martyr for the First and Second Amendment, but the courts haven't agreed. And he was found guilty of bullying the Sandy Hook Elementary School victims' families and falsely claiming they were part of a false flag opera. He loves that phrase, false flag. He's an idiot.
Oh yeah, he's using it for the Uvalde.
But he suffered a new defeat on Friday, June the 10th in Texas, according to the Associated Press. U.S. bankruptcy judge Christopher Lopez dismissed a bankruptcy protection case involving 3 companies that Jones controls. And the judge's action allows the parents' defamation suit against Jones to continue in Texas and Connecticut. And the trials that are now pending, he's been found guilty.
Yep.
This is the penalty phase. So he offered him $100,000 each. He said no, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that doesn't have enough zeros, fella.
No.
Anyway, fun to watch.
Anything less than him going broke, fuck it.
Yep.
All right, dumbass of the day.
Oh my God. So Republican Pastor Mark Burns is running for Congress in South Carolina. And he's campaigning on an extreme promise that he wants to execute Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham. So this is great. I just love this. He also wants to execute the teachers that support LGBTQ youth and, the standard list, the go-to rethug list of
And
opponents.
this isn't considered some form of incitement unless people actually go out and do a thing?
I don't know. Somebody should file a complaint and see what happens. He's going to bring back the House Un-American Activities Committee, right? And it's a committee we should reenact. It starts to hold these people accountable for treason. And he says, you've got, here's... Mitch McConnell is supporting Joe Biden's gun-grabbing Second Amendment law, and he's urging other Republican senators to support Lindsey Graham to come after our guns, to confiscate our guns. They should be held for treason. And while I agree that Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell should be held for treason, I find it amusing that the Republicans want to do it. And so, at least as far as Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham go, I'm kind of all for it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, hey, there aren't any real Republicans left anymore. But non-Nazi Republicans, you should probably be looking at this and understanding that when they get their revolution, it's going to be the traitors in their midst, the rhinos who go to the wall first. So anyway, go right ahead and vote for him, see what happens.
No, I mean, this whole, calling for executions and stuff, saying that I'm gonna execute these people. Just, I feel like that's actionable. Is it just me?
There's a part of me that is enjoying watching this whole little Frankenstein's monster moment play out, and you know what? Shit. I got my whole ass own things to worry about.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I feel like if I said something like that, I would immediately be locked up somewhere. I guess you need to have a couple million before it's okay. Anyway, Kushner got his hands dirty.
Saw these.
Yeah, now this was funny because Kushner tried to portray himself as being above the fray on the...
or at least above the blame. Most importantly, above the blame.
Yes, above the blame. For the big lie and the efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Well, it turns out it's not that he wasn't involved. He absolutely helped get it started.
Oh, yeah.
Right. He's one of those who helped start the Rudy Giuliani clown show. He just bailed early on to avoid responsibility. So
No, that way you can pull a real Kushner, and if it works, take the credit.
yep.
If it all catches on fire and runs down inside of your face like cheap dye, then not
The
so
source
much.
who admitted that they were part of the effort told Rolling Stone Jared was directly involved. I mean, there was a brief window when it seemed like he was positioning himself to be Jim Baker. It didn't last long. He backed away from it, but he was there and got his hands dirty like everybody else did. Jared helped create what became the Rudy Clown Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Not at
hey.
all surprised.
No,
Yeah.
a little bit. Oh, fun. All right. QAnon content warning. Everything that follows is total bullshit. And we here at BoomerX do not support their beliefs because they're dumb and wrong.
So,
no.
no
So on
fluoride
that
for
note-
mind control, no nada. Well,
Right.
we may talk about weird shit. Hang on.
So,
So on
weird
that
shit.
note, QAnon believers flock to Dallas again.
Oh, god damn it.
yeah, because JFK is going to come back, and he's going to be going to reveal that he's the reincarnation of Jesus Christ.
Somebody go find a 105-year-old and listen to him talk. Actually, shit, I bet someone would say that. I would fuck with young people who show
So
up.
anyway, this is Protzman again, right?
No.
Of course.
Wait, they're not dead?
We have no idea how many people are going to go, right? But there were lots and lots of people who replied that they would be attending. So
All right.
again, this is, this has gotten to the point where it's not amusing; it's sad.
Yeah, no, like, we're all going to be...
These are troubled people.
The internet's about to kill a bunch of people. Like,
Yeah.
at some level, as a society, we should probably take whatever, like, maybe before the fact this time, before we find whatever, a mine shaft full of lunatics wearing a specific kind of shoe. I don't know what this group's into.
Yeah.
After it doesn't turn out that, what the fuck did you say?
Yeah.
Kennedy's
Oh,
coming back and he's really secretly Jesus. What the fuck? God damn it.
Anyway, no, I share your concern that we're going to find them covered with the little,
Yeah.
right, like the comic.
Mhm. Heaven's Gate was sad too.
All
Yep.
right. Trump lashes out at January 6th committee because, of course, he does.
Well, and of course he did it, right, on Truth Social, which ought to be called Insurrection Social. But anyway, which means there were, 13, 14 people who it was exposed to?
Yeah.
So I see the unselect committee of political hacks refuses to play any of the many positive witnesses. Positive witnesses to what?
Yeah,
I mean, this
what
is
is-
guy who said this was the greatest movement in the history of the U.S. And if what you're talking about is a bowel movement and the shit that was left behind, yeah, it was a big movement. But anyway,
No, I really hope that they show those photos.
Yeah, make it
from
crazy.
the aftermath.
Yeah.
Because those photos, because
That's
I've
not
seen
tourism.
some of them, and that's messed up.
I've never been on a tour that went like that.
there's only negative footage. Yeah, well, show me some positive footage for your armed insurrection against the
Right?
United States
Oh no,
of
no,
America.
no! That
Fat
scene.
Maybe that's
orange.
what's
that,
in
no,
the
no,
box.
no, they have positive. That one scene where all the people who broke into the Capitol through the windows and spaces, where they were walking between the sanctions, those
Stanchions, yes.
stanchions, and yeah. That was
right,
perfectly
right.
fine. I was positive. It was very positive because
No.
even though they weren't supposed to be there,
In that
and
one
they ended
frame,
up
they looked
stealing things and shitting everywhere and pissing on things, and even though they did all that,
And entered violently.
that whole 5-second video, or maybe it was 30, maybe it was a minute clip of them just walking
Yep.
through, like everybody does when they're there when they're supposed to be, except they weren't supposed to be. So there was already a crime that we were watching in action. So I don't understand what parts were missing here. Did I miss something?
Well, and remember that what they showed were, they showed testimony of Trump's closest advisors, right? Jared Kushner, Ivanka Trump,
Barr.
Yep, William Barr, Jason Miller, General Mark Miley. Guys, sorry about this shit, but that was their testimony, fat boy. And then of course he jumped up and down about fraud, the big lie, the election fraud and so forth, which nobody has been able to find any of, despite a number of circuses run by Trumpistas.
Hey. At the same time, I am leery of the fact that I think the media will instantly go for and be kind to any Republican who can string a sentence together that doesn't say the quiet parts out loud. And right, a return to dog whistles version, whatever we were last on, that didn't lead to the crowd shouting things and the media having to be in shark cages.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to come back to this in a second. But first, let's move on to updates with BoomerRex health threats.
All right, so we've got a monkeypox update. CDC is saying that in many of the cases we're seeing tiny bumps on the skin. It's the only indication of an infection, right? That it's not in the usual places. It's very limited, right? And that their concern is that part of what's going on is that we got a whole bunch of cases that are unrecognized and undiagnosed, which would also explain why it's spreading, right?
Yeah.
Is that we just don't know who's got it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
Well, and the lumps would have to do something before I went and really got them checked out, or be of an unusual size.
Yeah.
Right.
So in any case, this is not unexpected, right?
All right, cool. So at least that.
And the good news is that nobody has died from this yet, right? It's
well, and also at least the question of how it was getting spread around and why it wasn't being recognized is now explained, because it sounds like it's a very mild thing that you may or may not even realize you have.
right. Now there are people it may not be mild for, including the immunocompressed. Suppressed, excuse me, immunocompressed. All right.
It's Friday. It's Friday.
And I haven't even been drinking.
It's Friday. It's Friday. Relax.
So anyway.
So let's move on. Oh, sorry.
No, we'll move on to climate
weirding. Yep.
So, in some sense, it couldn't happen in a better place. The Great Salt Lake is drying up. 2/3 of it's gone already. And as it continues to dry, and there's every evidence that's exactly what it's going to do, the first thing that'll happen is that the lake's flies and brine shrimp will die off. And that could start as soon as this morning. And the problem with that is there are 10 million migratory birds that stop by that lake to eat those shrimp and flies. So anyway, but that's by no means the worst thing that can happen. What will happen as the lake dries further is that the air surrounding Salt Lake City, which includes 1/3 of the population of Utah, as that becomes exposed, the lake bed, that windstorms will carry arsenic into the lungs of nearby residents.
That doesn't seem like a good thing.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
No, not at all. This is going to have some really bad effects. So they're saying, well, this is going to happen if we don't take some pretty dramatic action. First of all, I doubt seriously that Utah is going to take any dramatic climate action, period. But
I don't know. Can we just label all the climate stuff as tourism bills? And
I'm sorry?
Can we just label all the climate stuff as tourism bills and drive on?
Yeah, sure. Anyway, the problem is, if you wanted to save the Great Salt Lake, what you would have to do is let more of the snow melt return to the lake. And that's part of what's been happening, is that water is being snatched up by residents and farmers, and letting it return would threaten the region's breakneck population growth and high-value agriculture, which is something state leaders are just not going to do. Right? So I think probably...
So instead they're going to let people die by breathing in arsenic.
Yep.
That sounds like a way better option.
Yep.
All right, cool.
Anyway.
As long as we're all on the same page and, everybody's cool with murdering people, that's fine.
Actually, they probably won't die. They'll just get really sick. And anyway, we know where that goes. Impoverish your family. Anyway, so I had another one too. So it turns out tiny waxworms and mealworms, right, which are beetle larvae, have a good track record when it comes to eating plastics, specifically styrofoam. And so it's been hypothesized that larger superworms could eat more plastic. So superworms grow to about 2 inches, and they're bred as a food source for reptiles and birds, and in some countries, Thailand, Mexico, even human consumption, right? So they raised them on a diet.
This is interesting. Yeah.
No,
But my thing is are
Of
they...
exclusively styrofoam. And it wasn't a healthy diet. They weren't the healthiest worms, but they succeeded and they completed their life cycle and so forth. So, I'm sorry, you were saying?
No, I was wondering, if you're feeding them styrofoam, probably can't use them for anything else.
I don't know. They're turning it into
living
their
worm.
bodies. Yeah.
So I'd want to know. I'd have some questions.
wanna
I wouldn't
check.
do farm to table on this to start with.
Yeah.
But
I just thought that was interesting. There was something that ate styrofoam.
if it meant we
I'd
could
never heard
fly,
of that.
Yeah, no. If it means we can fly cargo containers over and dump them out over landfills and they'll eat whatever.
Oh,
Cool.
yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, all right. Well, that's an interesting thing to consider, for sure. Okay, so I fucked up, and we just did not record our whole last...
Told you the meaning of life. We were really nice.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yep.
No, so it's all fucked up right now, but
No, it's not.
basically, it's fucked up. Shut up. Basically, we were discussing, the coverage of the January 6th hearings.
Right.
So we were discussing Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity and Fox News and how they played it all out.
Oh, don't
So-
forget Laura Ingraham.
and Laura Ingraham,
You
yeah,
gotta get all the nutsies together.
and Marjorie Taylor Greene and all the fun,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
y'all missed it. So
Yeah. Yep.
you're getting the B-roll
The
here.
entire Know Nothing tribe.
Yep.
It was good, and now you're gonna get whatever this is gonna become. So I started by reading a Newsweek article called "How Fox News Covered the First January 6th Hearing" by Isabel Van Bruggen. And this time around, I'm literally just going to read the good parts. Fox News relegated coverage to secondary outlets as the channel's hosts ripped into the committee. Democrats and liberals, they've been flopping in primetime television for years. It's always the same, right? Fox News host Laura Ingraham said on the Ingraham Angle, slamming the committee's hearing as a, quote, flop, quote, ludicrous, and a, quote, snooze fest. It's misleading information, vicious innuendo, attempts to connect the dots that never quite pay off. That drumbeat, constant drumbeat of demonization and distraction is neither entertaining nor edifying, she told her viewers, to which I say, thou dost protest too much. This is a lot of projection going on here, folks. A lot of
Especially
projection.
when thou hasn't listened.
Well, that's the other thing, is that they go on and on and on, but none of them have been watching it because they're talking about it while it's happening.
So at best they've
Without
got an
listening to
underling
it.
doing it.
Oh, at very best.
And
But again, I
could you imagine that being one of the baby foxies being told, now sit and watch this.
Oh,
and
God.
if you're too crazy, we'll have to fire you, obviously. But
So Fox News ended up sharing the broadcast on Fox Business Network, which was hosted by Brett Baer and
Yep.
Martha McCallum.
the business kids cannot have the moneyed interest think that they're buying any of this shit.
During his primetime slot, Sean Hannity described the committee's long-awaited first hearing as boring. The dullest, most boring, there's absolutely nothing new, multi-hour Democratic fundraiser masquerading as a January 6th hearing, said Hannity.
Okay, no, shut up, hold on. Hannity and I agree for a half second, but I
What's
don't think
that?
he's going to agree with me after he hears my idea. I think we should introduce fucking Nitro and Blaze from American Gladiators to Congress.
there you go.
Just sometimes they'll charge out or they'll shoot you with a big gun with tennis balls. I don't care.
Yeah.
I could make C-SPAN more. I don't disagree with him on that.
Well, and the thing you need to know about Sean Hannity, because I've known him since he was in goddamn Alabama.
Yep.
Hell, you called into his show.
Yep.
But Sean Hannity has never been reluctant to discuss things he knew nothing about.
Yep.
So, and he hasn't changed a bit since he was a bit player in Alabama.
Well, that's not inherently a bad thing, but you do have to go out and get a shit ton of experience before you can actually start accurately identifying what a thing is kind of like.
Oh, yeah. No, and Sean does not have that experience.
Meanwhile, Fox host Tucker Carlson accused television channels that aired the committee's televised public hearing of broadcasting propaganda.
Is this under the takes one to know one clause? Like,
Absolutely.
It's deranged and we're not playing along. This is the only hour on any American news channel that will not be carrying their propaganda live. They are lying. The January 6th show trial is underway. A banner on Carlson's
wait a
tweet
minute.
read at one point during the Tucker Carlson Tonight
Hadn't
show.
we heard about show trials before? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, our friend mentioned
Yeah.
show trials, which is how we know he's probably watches Fox News, which we're happy to have him.
Instead of watching.
We're
the-
happy
Hey,
to have him listen to us.
you're a
I
brave
really
proxy
am.
being out on the internet looking at other sources.
Yeah, no, I
Or a
appreciate
weird choice of algorithm shit got you here, in which case, sorry, that's weird, huh?
Yeah, well, but,
Hope you stay.
yeah.
Carlson and Hannity, in their respective hour-long shows, invited guests who repeated unsubstantiated claims surrounding the riot at the U.S. Capitol. The January 6th attack saw a mob of Trump supporters storming the Capitol was forgettably minor, quote-unquote, incident of violence, said Carlson during the committee's hearing, as a, quote, moral lecture, is how he described it.
This from the sex police.
Tucker also claimed not a single person in the crowd that day was found to be carrying a firearm, unquote, despite court papers showing otherwise.
When in doubt, lie.
Hannity,
He may be right.
He's got a
One
hair, I'm sure
firearm.
he can split.
No, there was an entire van full of guns
Yeah.
parked next to the Capitol.
Okay.
That's where a lot of the cops
Okay.
were, as they were handling that. So no.
Because I know that the one gun that was found on Capitol property had fallen out of the guy's holster.
Which tells you there were probably others armed as well.
Yeah, probably.
So let's just be really honest there. Hannity called the panel a, quote, sham committee, unquote, while pushing unsubstantiated claims that the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, turned down Trump's request to have 10,000 National Guard troops at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. A spokesperson for Pelosi has rejected the claims and has said that the Speaker's office was not consulted or contacted concerning any request for the National Guard ahead of the January 6th, 2021. And yeah, why would they talk to her?
Did they talk about how it was Antifa that was responsible?
Oh, no.
Despite the fact that we've got 800 Trumpistas up on charges?
Nope. No, they're not going to talk about that.
Shut
Why would they talk about
I
that?
haven't found any Antifa.
But I can tell you what they've been posting all over their Facebook today.
What's that?
Let's read a couple of headlines here. So the very first thing you're going to see if you go to foxnews.com right now, and this has been up for at least a couple hours was the first time I saw this. Police responded after Democrat DA allegedly gets violent with husband in outburst over Facebook post. So basically, they got into a fight. She wanted him to leave. He didn't want to leave. Supposedly, she slapped him. Cops said he didn't see any swelling or any signs of injury, so it was obviously not a significant slap. But anyway,
Hey, if you're going to slap him harder than that. He might remember.
fair. But again, like, oh no, she might have slapped her husband. Are you guys all about that? Like,
Yeah.
if she was a guy, you'd probably be cool with it. Is that the problem? Like, I'm a
I'm
little,
telling you, it's dog
little
bites man.
confused.
No, other way around. Man bites dog.
Right.
It's the one you want to cover because it's odd and out of the normal.
So the very second headline you're going to see on their page is
Confounds gender expectations. Which, what the fuck, Fox?
right.
Remember that episode of Leave It to Beaver where Ward walked in and just belted the shit out of Who's It's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So the very second thing you're going to see on their page is AOC urges their supporters to test their illegal substances and blames the supply chain. That's good advice.
Yeah, don't do that.
That's yeah, you should. If you are a user, that's what you should be doing. So cool. Good job getting the word out there, Fox News,
Yep.
I
Hey,
guess.
if actors can't get clean drugs, that's concerning.
Yeah.
So Clay Travis slams hypocrisy after NFL coach fined $100K for January 6th comment. Don't give a fuck what child's game.
They wanted
Coach.
people fired for political speech.
I mean, these people are, getting head injuries and like becoming, excessively aggressive due to head injuries for our amusement.
And to the steroids they're taking.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's anti-aging.
Right.
Strategy.
Sorry.
And then they
Have
talk,
to get it right.
they talk about how Putin has cancer. Great. No one cares.
Here's
We all
hoping.
know that.
Yeah.
That's the one. Come on, America. We can all get together on one thing alone.
And
Go
then,
the tumor.
if you
Yeah.
scroll for about another 20 seconds or so, eventually you stumble across. Wow, did they push it further down?
Everybody think tumory thoughts.
Yes.
Well, this is interesting.
Ignore any thoughts that feel spidery.
Well, I don't know if they took it down or moved it, but I couldn't find the other article we were talking about. Anyway, it was about Ashley Babbitt's widower,
Yes.
Yeah.
who is complaining that that the hearings weren't talking about Ashley Babbitt when it first of all it was day one of the hearings. There's no reason to discuss her on day one. Second of all, she attacked members.
She was
the,
told repeatedly by a federal officer with a leveled handgun to stop.
Yeah.
All she had to do was obey the police.
Yeah.
Yep.
And again, this guy, the whole thing has been looked into, it's been researched, he's been whatever. Fox News' biggest complaint about this is that back in 2019, he accidentally left a gun in a restroom. Now, he was looked into for this, he took the hit for it, he got in trouble.
Leaving guns in restrooms. It just
It happens all the time.
Police do it regularly. I mean, it's a thing.
fuck me. It's the removal of the suspenders from the load-bearing system.
Yeah.
Because then you don't need to take your weapon out and put it on the back of a toilet.
Right.
But again, it was an accident. And he got in trouble for it. He, dealt with whatever that trouble was, and
His supervisors punished him as they felt appropriate.
Yeah, and
Right.
they moved on.
All
So
the things-
this is not some big red flag that they want to claim it is.
Not if we're not going to claim other obvious red flags are obvious red flags when it comes to cop backgrounds.
Yeah.
No, this is the grossest
You
part
mean
of
like
Fox's
leaving your
behavior.
radios behind when you...
Again, articulate to me the tactical decision, and yeah, sure, I can come up with some reasons why. If I can't be sure that thing's not going to fucking make a noise, sure, right, maybe. But
It's going to make a fucking noise. You have children
Yes.
dying in the room.
Yep.
You enter the room.
Absolutely.
Speaking of Ashley, Marjorie Taylor Greene had a lot to say about how wrong it was for her to get shot. Marjorie Taylor Greene claims that she saw a video that shows Ashley trying to stop other people from going in to the thing, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I've seen three different videos from three different angles, all on the same thing. She was climbing over the barricade to go into the thing. The cop said, "You back the fuck up, bitch." She said, "Bar!" and he said, "Bang!" and then...
No, but this is about making everyone feel bad for the husband of the dead lady.
Yeah. So anyway, if Marjorie Taylor Greene has different video, post it.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
Hell, if you've got different video, we'll show it on our channel.
Yeah. I have no problem. Share the video. We will get the word out there, and I will apologize.
Absolutely.
I will. Oh my gosh! If I had only seen this video previously, but obviously she does not have this video, or we would have seen it already.
Again, Marjorie Taylor Greene's connection to reality is very, very slim.
I don't think she has a connection to reality at
I
all.
think that's possible.
I think
be
it's
truly honest.
convenience based,
Yeah.
but
But anyway, I want to point out the fact that between Tucker Carlson's show and Sean Hannity's show, they decided to show absolutely no commercials.
I love it.
That's the part I find more interesting, and I understand why, right?
Well, because you can't have them on the commercials switching over to the committee hearings and finding out the truth. That would be terrible. How do we stop them from doing that? Oh, I know.
And seeing video they haven't seen before, because humans are incredibly good at that.
Yep. Well, they're trying to keep their gullibilities gathered up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
No, and so
That is a good sign, though. That means they're afraid that their grip is not ironclad.
Right.
So other coverage, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, all of them are covering it kind of the way you'd expect. They're breaking it down. They're saying these are the new things we learned. These were the new exciting videos, and this is what we didn't see this angle before, and this and that and the other thing. So they're having your average talking points. My biggest complaint with the way that they are all covering this, and this is something that we've been kind of complaining about for a while, is they're pushing wrong narratives. So the problem is that a lot of what I've been seeing on these channels today has been, oh no, we're finally seeing that this wasn't just a riot gone bad. What the fuck are you talking about? Why do you think we've been calling this the January 6th insurrection, not the January 6th riot that got out of hand?
Yeah.
What the fuck? This was always an insurrection. It was never anything else. And for those of you who are just coming around to this knowledge that it is an insurrection,
Hi.
I hope you were in a coma or something. I mean, not like really hope you were in a coma, but like welcome back to the world.
It's June 10th, 2022.
You might as well have been in a coma. Like this is weird, man.
Stay for facts. We've got stories.
But
we can catch you up. BoomerRexTonight.
Yeah, it's just disappointing.
Yeah.
That they're pushing this narrative, which was wrong and false on its face, and it's not what they've been saying. This is a new thing that I haven't been hearing them say before. So why are you suddenly saying it now as if this was how you've always been presenting it? Oh, I know why. Because that's the way they want to portray this. And oh, now this new information is why we're going to call it an insurrection rather than all the other information that we've had this whole fucking time.
Right. Well, remember that their principal goal in life is to sell soap. So.
Yep.
But no, and we're hoping. I was really happy that we had our new friend, hopefully, and I hope he did listen to our whole show. And I hope he listens to this show as well. And you're welcome.
Stick around. Listen for 2 weeks. If you disagree with us, that's all I'm asking.
Give us two weeks and tell us what you think.
Absolutely.
And again, if you are on the fence in any way, or if you're a Republican and maybe you have some questions, please feel free to ask me. I enjoy doing research to help people out. It's part of what I do on the show. I do these deep dives and such. Feel free to look up past deep dives. And, again, I will look up anything that you want to know. I will cite my sources. I use multiple sources. I never use just one source. And I always cite my sources, where I got the information from, and why I might have used one source over another. So please don't be afraid to ask. No questions are dumb questions. But if you're going to be a dick, or if if you're
coming here to ask dumb questions, then
if you ask a obvious question just to be a dick or something, maybe I'll still do the research just to make you look like even more of a dick, but I might just tell you to fuck off. But anyway, for the most part,
if we're going to do that, you have to do the Democrats' history of the Klan, because that's the talking point I hear returning very often.
But for the most part, honest questions will get, not for the most part, but if you ask an honest question, you will get an honest answer. But also, leave your comments, even if it's a bad comment. Just know that we're gonna, fillet you alive, and it's gonna be funny. So, keep that in mind, but please interact, listen to the show. Don't just leave a nasty comment. Listen to us first, hear us out, and if you disagree, tell me why. Tell me why, and see if I can't change your mind. All right, let's play that game. But in the meantime, all I'm going to say is don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, heart, follow, review. Go to BoomerRexTonight, no spaces on Facebook for fun memes and a link to our Patreon. Give us $1. You can find us on YouTube as BoomerRex or check your favorite podcasting service for BoomerRexTonight. We can be found on over a dozen different platforms, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. Hit us up on Twitter at BRexTonight. And if you Google BoomerRexTonight, no spaces, all links will lead you to us. We love you all, and we'll see you back here on Monday for Just the News. Have a wonderful weekend.
Good night, Joe.